Love you, Linda. Love you.
The courthouse the other day in the hallway, you're singing "Oh Happy Day."
One word prayer. Justice, where are you?
And welcome to Justice Served TV. We are on the air. Do I sound surprised? I know sometimes I'm surprised we're actually, we made it. Anyway, Michel Bryant here. Linda Kenney Baden is, of course, on assignment. But, you know, when she's on assignment, she's not really totally gone. I feel her presence, and I have a feeling she'll make a cameo at some point here. We have a couple of great guest hosts to join, though. Before we do that, though, I want to mention you just heard our theme song there, the Justice, Where is Justice theme song, the reggae by Ziggy Marley. And we've been having people weigh in on whether we should continue using that song or use what we use for Person of the Week, which is a much more kind of hard driving, kind of more modern. It is AI, but it has an edgier kind of feel to it, and we use it for the Person of the Week because it references warriors and never giving up and justice and all. And the votes are in, and rough numbers are 75% of the folks say stay with the one we have. So, and I'm not just making those numbers up because Linda was pressing heavily to make the swap. And maybe we will. There was actually a very good suggestion we may follow, and that is to use the Person of the Week music as the outro music. So if I can cut that together with our little graphic about subscribing and liking and commenting and sharing, that may be a great compromise because it's it is a cool tune. And then we can still use it for Person of the Week. We only do that once a week anyway, so because it's Person of the Week. See, it's a week, so we only do it one time. Okay, so a couple of quick notes on Karen Reed before we get into our great guests here, who could not be more exciting to talk to, and one of them is my fellow plaintiff in a federal lawsuit. So we'll get to that in a second. I just want to give you an update. Karen Reed, they gathered together, I think it looks like 3 more jurors, so they're now at 15 total. So that's 12 plus 3 alternates. They need 1 more alternate. 8 men, 7 women in the box at the moment. So they'll probably wrap that up tomorrow, and I'm guessing they will take Friday off officially, do some housekeeping. Maybe there's some stray motion responses out there. I still haven't heard the latest on the ACCA experts. I know that the judge suggested maybe a voir dire just before they testify. I'm not sure if that was ever an official ruling, but it was definitely talked about. So we'll see. And of course, in the federal courts, including the action that my guest, Tom CPU, and I are involved in, that's going to be looking at a possible temporary restraining order in the federal system, but I don't know when it might be heard. I do believe the one from the first lawsuit brought by the 4 protesters, again, all of these folks, including Tom and I, represented by Mark Randazza, and he'll be on tomorrow night, by the way. They already made their application, and I thought they had a hearing on it. So that could all, they gave us a separate judge. They decided that, this is bizarre to me, that these federal cases weren't significantly similar, that they should be under the same judge. That makes no sense. That sounds like Canton Dedham, common sense. Doesn't make sense to me. They're all pretty much revolving around the same issue, which is freedom of speech surrounding this case. Anyway, we'll see if those TROs are granted or even entertained. As we know, opening statements are coming up on Tuesday. Okay, so I have with me, I'm gonna bring on Kristen first because ladies first. No, that would be sexist. No, because Tom, I don't know where the hell Tom is. That's why I'm not bringing him on first. Kristen Anderson, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Very good. Of course, you've been out there. I'm assuming, right? You've been out there. And yep. Have I bumped into you and been rude and not said excuse me or?
I don't think so, because I really haven't been there much during jury selection.
Okay, and I was only there.
Go to like the pre-trial hearings, during the trial.
Okay.
I was there a lot last year.
Yeah, I was there one day during jury selection. That was the April 1st when all of the fun happened with the Massachusetts State Police. And then I was there for a number of the pretrial hearings as well. But it's kind of a madhouse.
Yes.
So I can imagine how we didn't exactly meet.
Yes.
Tom's hard to miss Tom because he's carrying all the gear around all the
yes.
time, right?
I'm usually pretty close by him.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, next time I'm definitely going to make an effort. We'll find one another next
Yes,
time and
absolutely.
chat because you have an amazing story here. I think most people know, and Tom will get into this more when he joins us. Most people know that story, the April 1st story, and the lawsuits that have spun out of that. The supporter who had the sticker ripped off of him, which is a third and separate federal lawsuit. That's Mr. Delgado. What's his first name?
John Delgado.
John Delgado. Nice guy. He has very strong opinions. Not a surprise. He could not have handled that situation better. For those who have seen the video, he just like puts his hand up like, what? And before he can even suggest he leave the area or take it off himself, the trooper decided, violently remove this sticker from his pocket. What's the point? What are they trying to do? So I want to. How did you get involved in this whole mess? And I don't mean just your interaction, because you have the story I want to hear too about pre-Karen Reed, right, in terms of the trial. But before that, I mean, let's go all the way back to who'd you first talk to, who'd you first get enough information to be interested. How did that all play out?
So actually, I was watching TV. I believe it was like maybe Channel 7. And I saw Jen McCabe, and I'm like, wait a minute, I know her. I went to school with her. And we were friendly in middle school, but then in high school, that was a whole different story. Apparently, I wasn't good enough for the in crowd.
Oh, you weren't in the group. Okay.
Nope. I didn't make the cut. And so when I saw her on TV, I'm like, I wonder what happened. I mean, I had heard about when Officer O'Keefe got hit by the car. I heard that, but, I didn't really, I'm like, oh, that's horrible. I didn't really think much about it until I actually watched the news one night and I saw Jen McCabe. And then I looked into it. I couldn't find much information. And I saw that Turtle Boy was covering it. So I went on to his website. And then I started reading, and then I'm like, oh my God, I know everybody.
So are you from Canton originally?
Yep, I'm a townie.
Okay,
Been
so
here 49 years.
So you know all the players here.
Yep. My mother grew up here, my brother, me.
When you first, you say you saw Jen McCabe on the news, I'm assuming it was at or about the time she testified? Or was it something else?
It was in May of 2022.
Okay,
yeah,
so a few months after the incident. And what was the context? What was she doing?
That was when Aiden went to the very first.
Okay. When he started to kind of expose people.
He was following her down the street.
Okay.
And he walked her and her husband to their car. And he was asking questions like, why did you Google this? So, yeah.
It's the How's Long to Die. I'm sure that was probably coming up. Okay. Well, I see Tom is here, so let me bring him into the mix. You guys, if you haven't seen him, you've seen his stuff. He obviously has a great channel of his own called Seeking Justice. And he's out there virtually every day that there's anything going on, live streaming what's happening or not being allowed to happen sometimes. And we've kind of grabbed that feed on a couple of occasions. So Tom, known as CPU, is with us. Hey, how you doing, man? Oh, look at that. That's a very colorful.
How we doing, guys?
Hey, do this for me because I know you use Tom CPU and I see your name on the complaint and I wasn't sure how to pronounce it. Is it Derosier? What is it?
It's Derosier.
Derosier. Okay. Or Derosier.
I say
Derosier. With the Boston accent, it's Derosier.
Yeah, it's Derosier.
Okay.
If you're from Boston, it's Derosier.
Last names don't mean much anymore around here. So, yeah.
Okay. Welcome, fellow co-plaintiff. I haven't seen you since that all happened. Yeah. How are you feeling about that?
Can I say so? I'm strange, but before, can we just back up for a second?
Sure.
I need to apologize to you because this really isn't a reflection on how people in Massachusetts usually act towards other people. This is an outlier. That you need the good when you need the bad. You're definitely getting a view of the bad right now because that's not how these people in the Free Karen Reed movement are in any way.
I only, I only have some opinions about the cops, not the fellow Cantonians or Dedhamians. The only ones I've seen act out in a way that's inappropriate are the cops.
And you've been there prior to this. You were here last year, I remember, and I think I sent you to Scott, and you were going around talking to people, and everybody was great, and you were great, and you were just wonderful, right? But then when you come back this time, I feel bad because you don't have the same experience as you had when you were here before.
Well, I appreciate that, but it's been great. I mean, other than the stormtroopers, it's been great. So, I have your video. Before we get too deep into this, we've watched mine a bazillion times, but I've got yours. And for those who haven't seen it, I'd like to give them a sense. This was, I'm not sure in time. Do you know about what time this happened, Tom? What time in the morning
First
it was?
thing in the morning, probably 8. I was there maybe 8:15, 8:05.
Okay, so I was mine was at about 9:30 because we went on at 8:30, and I backtracked the timing on it for purposes of the lawsuit. I needed to narrow it down. So yours was maybe an hour before, maybe a little less. And is this Hardman that you interacted with? Is this Hardman?
Exactly who it was, and he knows me. And it's funny because all the cops, you see, there's a bunch of them down there. There's like 10 that you don't see.
Yeah, and they all, as I understand it, they're all like assigned to this duty, right?
They have us on lockdown. They know our first names, they know our last names, they know our cars, they know everything. Like they watch what we do. They watch this stream right now. So they watch us.
Hey guys.
Hey guys. Okay, so let's watch this, and then we'll it's an interesting interaction here. Oh, and who's your partner there? Your streaming partner?
Oh, it's my buddy Mike. He's
Mike.
wonderful. We do a thing in the morning. He's great.
Is that his legal name, Boston Mike?
Not yet, but he probably make it happen.
He's working on it. Okay, so here we are. This is you on the left side with your body cam setup there, which is a very cool setup. And you're approaching, those steps lead up to the front of the courthouse. There's one of the stormtroopers. Here we go.
Sir, you don't have media credentials. You got to go behind the buffer zone, okay? Or you're going to be subject to arrest. Go follow them.
Okay.
You're being told right now, and you're live, and you're being recorded.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, I'm not media.
No, you're not. Go back there. You're being subject to being arrested.
Can I come when she comes into court? Can I follow her?
No, you can't.
Not even.
can't.
I can't. I have to
No, you
go
can't.
outside the buffer forever.
No, you can't. Go.
Have a good day, sir. It is.
I think he said what?
he
Put
made
that
it-
on your TV.
He put that on your YouTube channel, he says. As I'm walking by, I turn around and I said, well, it is.
This now. See, Tom. This is the point at which Linda says we're supposed to respond. Why don't you arrest me, motherfucker?
Yeah.
We didn't do that. So
That's exactly what they want, right? So we can't give that to them. Trust me. I mean, I had some pretty creative ways of getting arrested here.
I think. Have you been arrested by these guys at some point?
No, never.
Okay, you're not
Never.
under oath.
No.
So, okay.
No, I've never done anything to be arrested for. And that's what none of the Karen Reed supporters have either. So to even have them there, we did last year, I swear to God, we didn't even skin a knee. There's no reason to have all these troopers out there, especially being as aggressive as they are towards us.
And I just don't know. And I have to ask when it comes up next time, and it will, because I'm going to go back there. I was going to come up tomorrow, but now the jury's essentially picked, I'm going to come back. I'll be there Monday night and then there for the opening statements. And I'm just going to have to ask, well, what rule is this? Is this written somewhere? Is there an order somewhere? Because we know there's not. And then I think I'm going to wear this just for fun. This is my New York court press pass.
Yep.
I could wear this to murder scenes, which would be a full-time job in New York. You can't get one of these in a box of Cracker Jacks.
Nope.
So I'm going to wear it, and I'll say, oh well, I thought it was press. I mean, and then that'll be an interesting exchange, I'm sure. But I just want to find out what they think their authority is. Where's it come from?
But here's the reason why I asked about the media question. All right, when this trial first started, the chief of police of Canton, Helena Rafferty, her brother-in-law came out of the crowd and decked me and took my phone out of my hand. I never saw this guy in my life. I was walking down along, and out of nowhere, this guy comes and throws an elbow and knocks me down, right?
And he's a doctor.
So he ends up being a doctor of the emergency room of a local hospital where they took John O'Keefe, right?
Oh,
Same hospital, right? So when he does this, he takes my phone and he goes and jumps in, tries to get in the front seat of the police car, like to hide from me, because I was heated.
So you followed him.
Oh, it was on. It was
And
not
when
going
was
to be
this?
pretty. Very at the town audit when they first voted to have the
The
audit.
special town meeting.
Yeah, I know they had a couple of meetings to talk about it, and they had to pick the provider, right? And then the 200 grand and all that.
So when I brought that doctor to court, the court labeled me media. So when Hartman says you're not media, well, they can't have it both ways. They've already labeled me media in the court. They did that. I didn't. They labeled me that. The court did.
Yeah,
So
and
that's why I had him say that. So he may not have all the facts, but the court said that I was media already. I didn't say that. They did. They deemed that to be me. So
yeah. Well, I mean, he's a dick, so
yeah,
he doesn't know what he's doing. So you go to court. You sued the guy for civil battery or what? Or was it a criminal complaint or what?
Of course, it was Officer Sharif, and we know how that works. He knew the doctor. He knew what would happen, and all the cops that were there, they all pointed to him. They all pointed to Sharif. Nope, they didn't want nothing to do with it because they knew who it was. All the cops that were there, they witnessed the assault, and they didn't arrest him.
And you didn't have your gear that day, right?
Oh, I did. He took the phone right out of my hand.
You had like your normal phone, just like you were just holding it.
He come by and out of the crowd. I never saw him coming.
But you have that video where up to the point he grabs your phone?
I have the whole entire thing. Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
I was live. It happened live. I had all of a sudden 15,000 people in my chat. People couldn't believe it. It was crazy. Crazy.
I'd love to see that.
These
guys they act with impunity. It's just
because
bizarre.
they have it. They have it. When this guy can come out of a crowd, clearly assault me, take my phone, right? In front of a bunch of cops, in front of 900 people voted yes that night. So people witnessed it. The cops didn't ask for any witnesses. There was 30 people around me.
Gosh. Well, I'd like to say that surprises me, but it doesn't.
So that's what these people who live there have to deal with. Like there's just no winning. If they're on the right, like Kristen, for example, she's never gonna win because she doesn't have that phone number to call. And they talked about that in the audit where there's two different police departments. There's one where you go and you wait for time, and there's one where you just make a phone call and stuff gets taken care of. It's wrong.
It's such a cliche, I swear. It's like a bad TV show.
It's Cop Town. It's Cop Town bad, gone bad. It's wrong.
Kristen, you have a story as well that predates a lot of this. So why don't you give us the background and just what happened, and then I'll annoyingly interrupt you for details.
Well, which part of the story?
Well, give me the bus driver part of the story, or is there more to it than that?
Oh, like I used to work for Stoughton Police, and Bob Devine was my supervisor.
Tell him who that was.
Okay.
Bob Devine is the one that was in charge of the Explorers program that Sandra Birchmore was in.
That's right. And we had Mizzy on the other day, and I think he's in that picture that we show.
Yeah.
Picture of the three of them together.
Bob Devine,
guy.
He's the one on the right that's not circled. Or is he's the one that's circled?
He's a very big, tall guy, very broad. Okay. He's very commandeering, big guy. Like solid.
He's from Canton. He grew up with the Alberts. He had me ultimately fired from Stoughton Police.
And what were you doing with Stoughton Police?
I was the animal control officer.
Okay, got it.
And I worked there for like almost 15 years. I did have a lot of the police officers support me. I still am really great friends with quite a few of the Stoughton police officers. So yeah, I have a law enforcement background myself.
Okay. And so just to fill in a couple of blanks for those who don't know the Stoughton story, as I call it, Sandra Birchmore
Yep.
ultimately found dead at the age of 23, pregnant, allegedly by one of the officers.
Yep.
And that was originally believed to be a suicide, according to the ME. And still the ME says, I'm not changing my opinion, but luckily an outside forensic pathologist, some of us may know, Dr.
Yep.
Michel Bryant, representing the family,
Great guy.
looked into it, said, this is not a suicide, this is a homicide. Then the feds looked into it, getting their own expert, agreed with Dr. Baden. Next thing you know, the officer Farwell is arrested, and now his case is pending. So that's where that all began. And it began with that Explorer program that you mentioned. And she was in that program from 13 to 15 when the sexual assaults began at age 15, and she died at age 23. What a brutal half of her life. Okay, so I'm sorry. Go ahead, pick up where you left off.
So then, like, let's fast forward like maybe 15 years or so. Driving a school bus in Dedham, I see, like I had said previously to you, that I was watching the news, saw Jen McCabe on, and decided to look up the story. And I was like horrified. I was in shock and horror. And when Turtle Boy did the very first standout, July 15th, I think, actually it was 2023. I went to court. There was hundreds of people. We were actually allowed on the front steps of the courthouse. That's where I met Tom. And him and I have been like this ever since. I'm one of his mods. And and I drive a school bus in Dedham. And pre-buffer zone stuff, I would frequently, bring my bus to the courthouse, and I'd park out back of the registry of deeds, and then I'd go out front. I was allowed to do this, and I am allowed to use the bus for my personal use. Like, I can take it home after my shift. Then
is this like a giant school bus, like a big, or is it a small? It's like a full-blown school bus. Okay.
Full-blown, yep.
So you're cruising around in that when you drop the kids off, and now you're basically on your time now, or you're in between class pickup or
I'm on my time. I'm not being paid.
Okay.
I'm not being paid. I get paid when I have students on my bus. That's when I'm being paid.
Okay.
So then I got very vocal in the beginning, and I went to like the selectmen meetings. And I think what really got me vocal is when John Conley from the select board of Canton had the hot mic.
Former member is what I hear, right? He's a
former member, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
He called Rita Lombardi a effing random citizen, and that just totally ticked me off. I didn't even know who Rita was, but I was pissed. And I made it to the next selectmen's meeting, and I pretty much demanded an apology, and he pretty much, like, for lack of better terms, just gave me the finger. I mean, he didn't do that, but that's pretty much what I got. And then I met Rita, and I would go and hang out with her at, the standouts and the court hearings and stuff. And if I drove through the area when everyone was out front, I would beat the horn. Never had a problem.
Just in support of whatever's happening.
Right. Or like, I knew Tom was there, so I would beep, and he'd hear the beep, and he'd be like looking for me. And
was this like a beep, or was it like a beep beep, like a friendly beep beep? What kind of beep?
So in the beginning, it was just like a beep beep. And then, like, when it started, like, them trying to silence all of us and not letting us do this and not letting us do that, and we can't wear this and we can't wear that, then I may have got a little annoying.
As hard the horn, maybe a little bit. Yeah. Okay.
It turned into a louder beep.
Yeah, we knew it was her.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay,
Right.
and so this is happening when? Give us this time frame for this.
Oh, all during
From day one. this
trial
is happening.
motions to
Yeah.
trial 1.0.
Okay,
Prior,
So-
all the beeping and stuff was prior to buffer zone.
gotcha. Okay, even buffer zone 1
Yes.
prior to that.
Yes.
Okay, so then they put in buffer zone 1.
Right.
Do you change your behavior, or is it the same?
I didn't beep. I stopped the beeping.
Okay.
But I would still drive through there in the bus, and people would call my work. People would email my work.
And say she's driving the bus in front of
Yeah.
the courthouse?
Yep.
Okay, let me ask a really stupid question. I know the area better than I used to, but that's a pretty main street there to get from point A to point B, right? Would
Right.
that be the normal way you would drive your route, or were you going
No.
out of your way to do it?
I would be at the end of I would have already dropped kids off at school. So I was on my time.
Okay.
And I would plan on going and hanging with the supporters, and I would just take my bus because it was quicker, easier, whatever. And then when people started complaining, my boss is like, just don't take the bus there anymore. So I stopped taking the bus there.
How tell me how that exchange was. Was it angry? Was it sympathetic?
Nope.
What was it?
It was comical.
I mean, did it sound like he was on your side, their side, or neutral?
My side.
Okay.
Because
And he's basically saying, let's not rock the boat. Let's not make a big deal out of it. Just
Right.
don't take the bus through there.
Right.
Okay.
Because, they're really being annoying, and they just don't want to stop calling or emailing us. So just don't give them anything to call or email about. So I'm like, all right. But then this year, we have a driver that I have to cover his route on Thursdays and Fridays. And I have to go through that. That's the route. I have to go through Dedham Center, right past the courthouse.
Yeah, like I say, it's a main street. I mean,
Right.
Okay. So
And then
on one day,
I
you're
do
taking that route. You're filling in for one of your
I'm filling in for a different
Okay.
bus driver. So I have somebody that does my route because my route gets done earlier and he needs to be out early. So I do the other guy's route because I don't have any time constraints. And I have to drive by the courthouse to get to the school. Because that's really the only way to go.
So what happened on that day? Take us through it.
So it was March 18th, probably like 8:45 in the morning.
Okay, just for time frame, that March before the first trial, which was in April?
Oh,
Was
no.
that
March of 25.
Okay, so just weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay,
March
gotcha.
18th,
I want to make sure there's way too many trials and motions and hearings and days in front of that court. I just wanted to focus.
Right.
Okay, so that's where we are,
So-
and you're driving the bus.
I see Tom, and I did a long beep.
Yeah.
And it was a long one.
It was an aggressive beep. It was
Yes.
more aggressive. Okay.
Yes. But it was
I wasn't
cute.
paying attention, so she got my attention.
Yeah, so I had to
Yes,
get
you got
Tom's
somebody
attention.
else's attention.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I had my window open, and Trooper Hardman said, "Why do you have to do that? You're being annoying. Knock it off."
Okay, now wait. Now you've stopped the bus. Are you at
I was-
traffic?
At that point, I was stopped at a red light.
Okay, so you're there legally stopped, waiting for traffic, traffic controlled intersection. Okay. He
Right.
comes
And
up, what? He
at
knocks
that
on the
point-
window?
Well, no, my window was open,
Okay.
and I made eye contact with him, Hardman. And that's when he said, "You're being annoying, knock it off." And I just smiled and waved. And I was not in the crosswalk at that point. So then the light turned green, and the traffic didn't move much. I moved up a little bit, and then the other trooper, I think his name was Anthony, but I'm not sure, started to approach the bus. And he goes, "Stop." Okay, so I stopped. But where did that land me? But
crosswalk.
In the crosswalk.
So he comes to you from where? The front of the bus, the side of the bus, the sidewalk? Where is he?
He was kind of like, he was on my left side, driver's side, kind of behind me.
Okay, so you
So
see
he walked
comes
up the side.
Okay, you see him in the rear view. You see him, he pops up, and he's in your window now. He's right there, like right. You can just see him right
I had
there.
to look down at him because I'm
right, but you're parallel to him. It's not like you're going, who in the hell's saying that? Where'd that come from? Okay,
right. And he asked me for my license, and I'm like, really? Why? And he's like, just do what I told you to do. I'm like, that's ridiculous. And he asked me again for my license. And I'm like, are you serious right now? And he's like, yeah, let me see your license. And I'm not going to tell you again. So I'm like, okay, I am. And I reached
Did you say it just like that?
Yes, I was rude. I'll admit that I was rude because I was aggravated. This is ridiculous.
I just want to make sure you're setting the scene here.
I own it. I was rude.
But she's in traffic, mind you, and the cop comes up to her window.
Right.
Yes.
And there's cars now behind you that
Yes.
are not happy either, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And there
that's
was
all your
cars
fault.
in front of me, so I couldn't go anywhere. And if he didn't tell me to stop right there and I moved up a little bit, I can just imagine how that would have went. I would have been escorted off my bus in cuffs if I did not stop the second he told me to stop.
Pull a gun on
So I
you.
did what he told me to do. So at this point, Hardman now approaches the bus alongside Trooper, we're going to call him Anthony, because that's what I think his name is. And he's like, yeah, just take, and I thought this was weird, just take a screenshot of her license. All right, whatever.
Okay.
And then he goes, oh yeah, and by the way, she's in the crosswalk too. And then they were chit-chatting amongst themselves. I don't know what they said. And then he said, we'll be mailing you a citation in the mail. And I go, okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
And
And
then,
not just that, keep going. And then they did what? This is what makes me mad. Who got an email? This is really wrong.
So later that day, an email was sent to the superintendent of schools about my actions and stating that I was screaming out of the bus window with a bus full of kids.
Like a lunatic.
Like a lunatic.
Oh,
No, and I was being obnoxious.
Okay. And were there kids on the bus? Because you were on that route. There were kids on the bus or no?
There was.
Okay. How many kids?
I'm
just thinking witnesses. I don't know how many kids.
They were 5 years old.
Like a half a load of
They
kids.
didn't even know they were stopped. They would, to them, they just said,
they had no
they
idea,
had no
that
idea
we
what was
even
going on.
stopped.
They had no
They
idea.
had no idea anything even happened.
So the superintendent who gets the email, is this the same person you had the conversation with,
No.
or is this above that person? This is like the boss of the district, right?
Right.
And what happened?
So he emailed my direct supervisor, and she read the email, and we have, I think, 4 video cameras on the bus. So my boss is able to view the cameras.
Is there audio?
Yes, it's
Great.
great audio. It picks up everything.
So they get the interaction that you've just described. They got all that. They could look
Yep.
at it and they see
I
what's
did
really
not
happening.
scream. And I didn't even say like free Karen Reed. Nothing. Nothing of the sort.
Okay.
If anything, I just said, "Hey, hi, Tom. Hi, guys." Like, I
And so
saw
they see the
Tom.
video, and what happens?
Well, nobody but my supervisor has seen the video.
Yeah, but I mean, so no discipline, I would think, right?
Nope. She just said, just don't even go down there anymore in the bus. Okay. You only got to tell me once. Well, once
So
a
now,
year.
even though you're transporting kids, when you're filling in for the other driver, you have to go around some other route?
Nope. The very next day I went through and I straight ahead.
Okay.
Didn't say a word. Didn't wave to anybody. I don't know if anybody even noticed me because there's probably like 5 or 6 different buses that go through there.
Okay.
So they're kind of used to a bus going through.
Wow. Okay. And so no incidents since then. You're clearly on bus driver probation, so you don't want to violate that probation, and
Really not even on probation, other than
I'm just kidding.
I know.
They obviously
But
have you in their
told-
sights, and if they have a reason, they're going to give you some shit.
Yeah. I mean, if I continue to bring my bus through there, beep the horn and whatever, then I will probably get written up.
Yes, you'll be on double secret probation for sure then, and then who knows what might happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a crazy story, and again, as I've said before, none of these things surprise me anymore. At first, it's kind of like when you've been punched in the head a few times, it hurts, and then after a while, you're just used to it. I'm just used to these stories.
But then he mails me
there's more.
Then mailed me a
Continue.
citation for $235.
Oh, so did you go fight the citation or just pay it?
I think I'm frozen.
I think you are, but we can hear you. Oh, there you go. I think you're back.
No, I appealed it.
You did? Okay,
Because
what happened?
if I pay it, that's just, in my opinion, admission of guilt.
Yeah, I know there's a way to pay it without doing that, but still, I get you.
There was no buffer zone. So
And even if there
all I
was,
did was,
I don't think it applies to buses unless you have, the sides of the bus with free Karen Reed, posters and logos on them. I haven't seen that yet, Tom. We got to keep an eye out for this. People driving by, right?
We have a sign truck.
Have you seen anything like
Yeah,
that?
we rent
I'm
a sign
glitching.
truck.
Oh,
We
the
rent a
sign
sign
car.
truck that has the free Karen Reed logo and everything on it.
And what has happened? Anything?
Yeah, they keep moving it down the street as it goes, and then we make them keep driving around. And
Well, what about, I'm just thinking about normal traffic. Obviously, those folks are part of the mix, but you also have a lot of folks in the area that are just supportive and that may not show up to be officially protesting. And, what if I just want to drive through there and I've got the little banner out the back window? I'm waiting for the cops to stop somebody for doing that.
They have before. They've given out people for tickets for beeping last year.
Well, the horn honking I get, because believe it or not, and I've done a story on this for my Legal Edge series years ago, in most municipalities, you cannot honk your horn unless it is for preventing, a collision or some safety protective maneuver, not to get somebody's attention. That is not a valid reason to honk your horn. So I can see them having the basis for writing up. It's a stupid ticket, obviously, but there is a reason for it, and there's a citation for it, and I get that. If you think all you're doing is trying to make a racket, that can be controlled. Unfortunate, but true. I'm not surprised that they would write up those tickets. Okay, so let me ask you, Tom, have you seen anything different since April 1st when you were out there and had this encounter with Troopah Hodman?
Yeah.
And what's it like now?
It's chilling now. It's different. It's not the same. I don't have the ability to give news to the people who are following me. Aiden came down the stairs and someone accosted him. If I was where I usually am, I would have been able to witness. I would have been able to video that. But I'm not. I couldn't even tell who was what. I wouldn't tell what was going on. I couldn't even hear nothing.
How did you hear about that?
From Aiden.
And
but I'm so far back, I can barely see Karen even walk down the sidewalk. So it's not even fair to the people. It's really not.
Yeah, well, something's got to happen, and I think either they have to arrest somebody, which kind of forces the issue, or a court's going to have to make an order, a temporary restraining order or something. And I'm not talking about just about press. I'm talking about human beings.
I have to leave and come back in.
Okay. We'll carry on for a minute without you. Just I'll see you when you pop back in.
Internet. My internet is. Yeah, my internet's glitching really bad.
Okay. We'll
no idea what anyone's saying.
We'll let you back in. Okay. So, so something's got to happen. There's no doubt about it. Whether it's you,
unfortunately,
me, or
I think
else.
you're right. I think you're on the money there.
They're just so arrogant. They don't give a shit.
No.
And they need, court papers. They've dealt with worse. They've dealt with bigger threats, right?
Yeah. I mean, they own the courts. Put it that way.
Well,
it can't go further. So no matter what you do, you're going right to them.
Yeah. And it's when they carry that arrogance out onto the street. That's the problem. I give them every right to control crowds. And even to some degree, there is the ability to control certain speech, not what they're trying to control. But that's very different when the cops just take it upon themselves to just enforce whatever they want to enforce.
They're deciding right then and there what's allowed and what's not allowed under the First Amendment, under the Constitution that you and I both live by. Whether we're in a different state, that doesn't matter. It should
pretty much
right?
the same Constitution, and then most states, replicate the federal Constitution in terms of the primary rights like free speech, freedom of association, all of those things. And so, and apparently they also have the ability to determine whether you're media or not, right?
Well, yeah, I guess.
I mean, under their own definition.
Did I wonder, everyone that's in the buffer zone, did all their media passes get checked? Do you wonder?
That's interesting.
The kid that drives for Channel 5 doesn't necessarily, because they say drive the van, he drives the van, doesn't mean he's a press.
Well,
doesn't mean he's a press pass.
That's a question. Did you ever officially apply to the folks in Boston for a pass?
I've already been deemed it by the courts.
Well, still, I mean, that would be something you might submit to them to get the official, here's your pass. I think that'd be great. I just wondered if you actually made the application as we've done. I actually did it twice. In between was a pretty snarky email explaining that you guys, compared to New York courts, it's Podunk City. So I'm sorry.
It goes to one office in one building.
Yes, it does.
That works. One person works there, and that's it.
And they don't put their name on anything.
No,
they don't put their name on anything.
Zero responsibility whatsoever. You can send it in for every day for a month, and you'll never get a response.
Yeah, I just want to make a record for the second time, because if we do decide to take this further, whether it's this moment or later, we want the evidence that we have pursued this properly, and that here's the response we got. I think you may know the response we got was, we don't recognize YouTube as media. That was the response. Now, that would be okay if that weren't against their own rules. Rule 1:19 basically says independent journalists, and they recognize all forms of media. So they basically have carved out what is current, meaning, you don't have to be with legacy media. You don't have to have an official sticker with somebody.
What if we rebroadcast?
You can still get one of these.
What if we rebroadcast the audio on AM radio? What if we rebroadcasted what we talk about on AM radio? Are we now a public entity?
The real world knows that the old traditional definition of media, or the mediums, is gone. It's out the window. It's gone. If you are reporting on a subject of public interest and you do it regularly, those are the key terms. You can't be a one-off. You can't be, hey, I went to my uncle's and here's the video of something that happened. You're not really media then, under any definition. But if you do it regularly on any sort of platform, you are media, whether they like it or not.
I got 20,000 people. That's probably more than what watches the local media. I mean,
I'll bet you're right.
Really, right?
I'll bet you're right. No, I mean, YouTube is the biggest outlet, and within that there are tens of thousands of platforms and channels. So there's not even technically a numbers requirement, really, to fit their own criteria. It doesn't say with an audience of X or with viewership of Y.
Correct.
They don't even define it. But if this person, this unnamed coward, would have put his or her name on the paperwork, I would have obviously named them in anything we continue to do going forward. But they could have said, this person could have just said, we don't have an overflow. We don't. It's a very small courtroom. We're going to have to deny you because we've got other folks who are here, let's say earlier in the process.
Mhm.
That's an arguable, colorable argument. It really is. But to say, no, we don't recognize you two, you've shot yourself in the ass there, because that's a horrible argument and it goes against your own definition. So,
Yep. And here
we'll
we
see
are.
where that goes. I don't know where it's going to go. I was that day, April 1st, I was back and forth along the front of the courthouse. There was another trooper. I had just walked across with, I always get her nickname wrong. I'm going to say Gooch. Does that sound right? The Italian. Hey, how you doing? Not Dina.
Dina?
No, not Dina.
Not Dina.
She has spikier hair. She told me her real name once, but she told me her nickname many times, and I keep forgetting it. Anyway, I was walking across
There's a lot of people like that. There's so many awesome people.
Very cool. I'm very helpful. I'm very friendly, and very, you understand their pain, right? And your pain, because you're in the middle of it too. So we're walking across same route you were walking before you got accosted, and this had to be within 15 minutes of your being there, because it was before I had my encounter, which was minutes later on the other side of the street, after they were counting how many times I went back and forth. I was standing on the corner as these two folks, supporters, wandered on to the bagel shop, and I was just stopped there at the corner where they dropped the people off. They pull the cars up right on that corner.
Yep.
I was just standing there, nobody within 50 feet of me, and I see the trooper. As I'm turning around, I'm talking about, well, here's where they drop people, blah, blah, blah. And I look, I see him walking from the courthouse steps just toward me, and I was narrating it live on the air, streaming with Linda, and I just said, "Oh, Stady has some interest in me, and let's see what he has to say." And he just comes over and he says, "You can't stand here." I said, "I can't just stand here." No, you got to keep moving. You got to keep moving. And so I walked across the street, just befuddled and laughing at how stupid this whole process seemed to be. So,
and right then and there, he dictated who you were and what you were.
He never even said you are media, you're not media, and I'm not.
Didn't ask, did he? Didn't ask.
No, he didn't ask. Didn't care. I wasn't geared up like you have like a, I don't know, you have like a harness or some body cam thing. What do you got there that keeps your gear in place?
I just have it's just a regular handheld thing that I got that I connect.
But it's not like what's that thing called that has the built-in
gimbal.
Gyro? Yeah,
gimbal. Yeah.
It's the company makes it Omni or something like that. You have that, or you have something like a.
I have a DJI, but that kind of screws me because that's a Chinese thing, and the State Department shut the Chinese stuff down, so we can't use it no more.
Oh,
so I have it, but I can't stream from it because of stupid import rules that it's above my pay grade.
That's a whole different discussion. So anyway, I got my phone. I got this baby right here.
That's as powerful.
Also has another press pass in the bottom for a different state. But anyway,
that phone is as powerful as a $50,000 camera.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, back in the day,
that guy bang into the poles and stuff. Yeah.
I've done that too. But yeah, back in the day, if you didn't have your big, $50,000 camera in tow, but now it's as good as the person holding it.
Yep.
And that's what I'm just holding it like this. Now, I guess he could think I'm just an idiot, just talk on my phone, holding it in a weird position. But I have to assume he knew that I was recording and I wasn't just talking to myself like a homeless person. But he just never asked, didn't care. You can't stand here. I can't stand here? No, you can't stand here. All right. Okay.
When they're counting you walking by, you can't walk by past who. What's the threshold, right?
Well, that's where I had to check my my smart assery and not ask that. It begged that question. Like he said, I don't want to see you walk by here again. That's 5 times. And what happens at 6 times?
Yeah,
what, 7 times? Am I already over the limit at 5? It's only 4. I'm getting my steps in here. What's the problem? Oh, looks like Kristen is back. Let's see if we can get her back in here. Okay. Oh, I'm all confused now because I brought you in a different order. So now you're on one side, and now we have Tom center screen. Is everything all right? You think you're hooked up better there, or what, Kristen?
Yeah. Now I'm just doing it from my phone.
Oh, okay. So we were just talking about the interesting take on the rules that the Troopahs seem to have, and how they just seem to go, whatever they feel like saying at a given time, waiting for somebody to tell them not to, and that doesn't
Right.
seem to be happening.
Right.
So since your bus adventure, you still go by and quietly just do your thing, right? Just back and
Only
forth.
Thursdays and Fridays.
Okay. Only on those days you're filling in. And then
Right.
you're on the street with Tom when you can be?
Yep. What day was that we met up, Tom? What's today? Today's Monday? Yeah, Monday.
Yeah,
But
it's only, what is it, Wednesday? Yeah, it's only Wednesday. Oh, wait, I got something. I mentioned earlier, that Linda is on assignment, correct? Well, even when Linda's gone, she's not really gone. I feel her presence.
Okay, now we're recording. I have to tell you a funny story. I just recorded this whole thing with Cheryl McCullough. Greatest crime scene detective in the whole wide world, analyst, CSI, whatever you want to call her, the greatest. She just gave my husband and I, Michael, this incredible patch. And you can explain it. It's a patch for my police department that was actually worn on duty. You can see the uniform is still attached. So it means a lot to me, and I just wanted to give it to them as a thank you for being on Zone 7 and being a part of my Zone 7. And we're lucky to have her, and we're hoping to get her on Justice Served TV, where we're going to talk about two cases, Kohlberger and Karen Reed. And they may be screwed up in different ways. So, I mean, one, I believe the defense is screwed up on Kohlberger, and I believe that Karen Reed, well, we'll hear what Crime Scene Analyst thinks in the future. Stay tuned. Bye.
All right, I feel like I was watching an episode of Murder, She Wrote. So she was at an event and ran into her friend there, who we hope to have on. I know she was on the is it called? Something 7, Unit 7, Badge 7, Department 7, the podcast that she does with her friend. Anyway, so Linda is out and about doing those things, but never far from checking in.
Always working, like her
always
husband.
working. Yeah, that's exactly right. She's never truly off. She's just maybe less on, right? Okay, so what's your guys' plan now? What's the master plan to thwart the Troopahs? What's going on? Anybody have any ideas?
I don't. Mine required Kristen to keep me out of trouble. She's done a very good job at that lately. So, because what they're doing is wrong. I know it's wrong. They know that's wrong. So it's the unspoken rule has gone out the window because you don't do it with this. This is untouched. You don't touch someone's First Amendment, and you don't take their freedom away. Putting handcuffs on somebody is a big thing. They've taken away the civil liberties at that point, right? This is taking away our speech, and it shouldn't be fair. It shouldn't even be allowed because the people that watch me, it's not fair to them either. So,
Right.
And Microdots is here. Have you seen any of Microdot stuff?
I have. I'm trying to remember which one it was. It was great. The animation's great, and it had to do with what was happening in the house, based on a few theories and some of the witness testimony.
He's got a great one about the investigations of an accident that happened in Braintree, next town over, versus
I have a friend who was born in Braintree.
Microdots did a really good video. I'll have to get it to you. It is just, it'll blow your mind. It'll blow your mind.
I'm going to do something here that I'm horrible with because this is something that Linda normally does. So bear with me here. Matilda, thank you very much. Brand new member.
Yeah, hit the like, please, too. Up the little button.
That's right.
Like,
do that for me.
please.
You need to do Linda's job for me because I'm horrible at it. Bijou Cooper, new member. Thank you very much. Let's see. Oh, let me ask. That's a fleur-de-lis, right? That little thing there. That's a fleur-de-lis. Must be somebody from Louisiana. That'd be my guess. Kelly, YouTube member. Thank you, Kelly. And Stephanie Evison, YouTube member. Thank you all. Appreciate that. I'm going to see if there's some questions here for you guys. I should put this up so you get a little bit of pub. Let's see. Oh, there it is. There's my help. Lulu Bell, Cheech. It was Cheech I was walking back and forth with, and it was the time that they moved on to the bagel shop, and the Troopah came after me and said, no standing. There will be no standing allowed. Let's see.
Yeah, I can't recommend Microdots enough. That The way they put
who's the guy? Where's he from? Do you know?
Yeah, I know his
she?
name's Richie, and I don't know where he resides from. And he's been doing like this type of graphics for a while because I've seen stuff before, but he puts it together in an amazing way.
Yeah, I mean the talent on the animation it's first class. I mean,
Yep.
It's the kind of stuff you would see in like courtroom recreations. It's really good. Let's see.
There you go.
Well,
A Tale of Two Searches.
What's that?
That's the one I was talking about. The one that he did, A Tale of Two Searches. He
Okay.
showcases two different investigations in two different towns with the same cops who do a great job in one area, and they intentionally didn't do it on another.
I'm gonna have to look for that one. Okay, we're getting a legal lesson here from Mass Dad. A person doesn't get put in handcuffs for civil violation. That's criminal, Tom. Come on, that's law 101. Do you think
I know that?
Do you think they would not put you in handcuffs? Of course they would. Of course they'll put you in handcuffs because they're gonna trump up some sort of criminal violation. They're not doing it because you're jaywalking, even though that is criminal as well. They're going to have to put something on the arrest record, right?
But they did that to Aiden. All Aiden did is tell the truth and write a blog and write. He's journalist, writing articles left and right. Every day he's writing a different article, and they can't have that. They went and they locked him up. Granted, for what they locked him up for is that's open for interpretation. Witness intimidation is open for interpretation, but they still, for what he put on paper, he ended up in handcuffs.
Yeah, but my point is they had to come up with a violation. They had to, and it was witness intimidation. That's
Exactly.
where they hang their hat on there. Boda Bob says, Tom, CPU is also a violation of your right to peacefully assemble. We talked about that. Freedom of association is what it's generally called. So that's all part of the First Amendment.
Listen, we were there before the police were even there. We were in the very top steps of the courthouse before the cops were there. There were no barriers. There were no police officers. There was hardly anybody there at all. But we were there. And when Karen walked up, we said, good luck to her and, stand tall.
So, yeah, so that encounter, and you were shooed from that area before really any of the players arrived, right?
We got moved from the top of the stairs to down to the bottom to farther away to buffer zone. So
okay, yeah,
they keep moving us back.
Yeah, because in the times that I've been there prior to the buffer zone, basically there was that little gauntlet from the corner she and Jackson and usually a couple of the other attorneys would drop them off, and they'd walk that half a block to the steps. Didn't seem like a big deal to me, right?
It really isn't.
We used to be right at the bottom where the McAlberts would walk in, and they would have to walk through the crowd of us to the stairs. So we were right there with them. They had to physically walk.
And there was never anything happen?
No.
Other than I'm sure there was some taunting. There had to be some taunting. Come on.
The only thing that happened, they knocked the phone out of my hand because they didn't like me recording them.
I mean, we may have said you're a murderer or whatnot, but
some other pleasantry. Yes. How many times has your phone been knocked out of your hand there, Tom?
Got attacked.
Quite a few. People don't like what I'm doing. It's
no doubt.
They have issues with it, and they take it personal.
What kind of phone do you have?
Galaxies. I have a 22 and a 24. S24.
I think it's a good advertisement for it. I have a Note 10 Plus.
Ooh.
This thing is still cranking along, and it's got to be 5 years old. I'm not sure it's going to survive the Karen Reed trial, but
I love my stylus. But it doesn't have a stylus.
I don't even use it that much, but I like it. I
use it a lot. I do. I like it.
Do you use it a lot?
Yep.
Okay, somebody's wondering, Kimbo Sliced, what's up with Michael's motion? Yeah, not mine, of course. I'm just one of the named plaintiffs, along with Tom. But our buddy Mark Randazza, he's working on it. We know that. I'm assuming you also had did a declaration recently to support the TRO,
yes.
Right?
Yep.
And those were just submitted today, Monday, I think. So I think
yes.
it was put on the court calendar. At least it was filed on late Monday night or early Tuesday. These days, with electronic filing, back in the day, Sonny, we had to take our stuff into the courthouse and file it, and then it gets stamped, and now it's filed. Now it's just like, bing, 2 a.m. I just filed it, right? And so I think it might have happened on late Monday night or something. So it's filed, just waiting to see when they're going to get a court date for that, a hearing date. And I'm sure you also got that note saying they assigned us to a different judge.
Yes, something like that.
Something odd like that, which made no sense. Talk about, you're supposed to be supporting judicial economy. That sounds like judicial waste of time.
Or again, the fix is in already, and they send it to someone who they know who they're going to rule. That's how it works.
And
that's
why
Karen's in front of Auntie Bev right now.
The judge's name didn't mean anything to me. I don't know if it meant anything to you. This is federal now. So you're saying that this corruption, it covers the federal system too?
Listen, the people that are wearing robes, their kids play sports too. It's all about the sports, all about the parents and the sports, the groups.
Yeah, so we'd have to do a little research on
ice hockey moms. Can't
Sporting.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kristen. The problem with we're loudmouths, and when we talk, it shuts you off. So go ahead. Now we're stopped. Go.
What drives them to their sporting events?
Oh, yeah. It's so incestuous.
Yeah.
Right.
It's scary.
It is.
Here's a shout out for Microdots. I'll give them all the pub I can here. Debbie Blair does amazing work. The stuff I've seen is totally amazing. Yeah.
Beautiful stuff. Yep.
It's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, the people down there, that some people don't have the ability to get there. So they rely on you and me to bring our camera, our phone to them.
Yeah, and
that's the internet. That's how that works, right? That's why we do what we do.
Of course, it's just made reporting in whatever form it takes so much easier, so much better, so much. It's grassroots now. It's unvarnished. I used to work on a show called A Current Affair, and one of the producers is a guy named Peter Brennan, who was also a good friend of the family that owns Fox. And he used to describe them as the original pirates, the band of pirates, because they were just totally off the wall when they started Fox. And he would talk about TV, and he'd always just say, "It's only TV, mate." So he kind of put it all in perspective. And he would talk about you got to show it warts and all. So we're just showing it warts and all. That's what it is. It's not polished. It's not fine tuned. It's real. And that's the beauty of having so many people out there to do what really you could never do before.
I think people like the fact that it is real. It's you don't know what's going to happen. Like we watched Kristen get the ticket right in front of our eyes. You just don't know. Every second something else is going to happen. So it shouldn't be this way either. This is the poor girl. Think of what they're doing to Karen. She woke up this morning with a murder charge over her head, and she didn't do it. And we're complaining about not walking on a sidewalk. We're in the same system.
I mean, they call us a cult. They call us a mob. We're not even violent. We're not even violent to the McAlberts.
You're vocal, and you have strong feelings, and you're passionate. All of those things are pretty much protected. Nothing illegal.
Their actions are not the actions of someone that's innocent. That's not how you act when you're innocent, like trying to frame everybody for X, Y, and Z and preventing them from talking. I mean, that's not what you do when you're innocent. Karen's not doing that. Aiden's not doing that. It's them. I mean, they know that they're finding out the information, and clearly they have something to hide. We don't.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Have you seen anybody there from the other side?
No, and I mention that all the time because we're not as much as I've associated with you guys and this movement. I'm not a member. I'm still as independent as I can be, and I'm calling it like I see it, and I'm calling the case like I see it as I saw it unfold the first time. But I'm always looking for the opposition. I said, come on, and there are folks that comment, of course, that the lazy, basement dwellers, but it's always just personal attacks or just baseless claims. no evidence, no good arguments, no substance. So when I
to come in and talk to you either. Like
I
I would
know.
one of them to come on and have a discussion with you. Like, why not?
Yeah, and we every day we're always asking, come bring it on. And when we get some of those unsubstantiated comments, I will always respond, give me something, give me something. If I don't respond with a snarky comment, which does happen. Yeah, but come on.
Yeah.
We're happy to talk about it. It doesn't happen.
I think they should come on and instead of hiding behind the keyboard and calling us names, whether it's fat, ugly, whatever, like, tell us right here.
Yes, it's not that difficult if you've got something to support your argument.
Right.
It's really common sense.
And we have the best supporters. We really do. We really have the best chat, the best supporters that are on our side. I mean, you want the talent? We have Nan, right?
And we're going to have her on here too.
We have you guys. I mean, we have Aiden. We have Young Jerks. We have Brian from MTL. I mean, I can just go on and on. Melanie Little. Just go. Brandy Churchwell. All these people, right? It's all accumulated to where we're at today, right?
Yeah.
And it's been a long haul for a lot of us. Think of what Microdots does. That dude got a full-time job. He does this on the side.
Yeah,
This is what he does all the time.
As somebody who dabbles in editing, as I'm sure you do, Tom.
Yeah,
and I have forever.
I hate it.
This I always liked, I've been around since editing was like on videotape, like with big old machines, clunk, clunk. Even though it took long, I always enjoyed that part of the process because that's when it all comes together. What we do now is much more raw. There's less of that. But what Microdots does is next level stuff.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That is not a guy in a closet. Well, maybe it is now, on his laptop. But back in the day, you'd have to have 2 or 3 people to put that together, a graphics person and the editor and an executive editor. Yeah. So I really respect what they're doing. And if anybody is out there has not seen this Microdot stuff, Microdots are getting, according to Brit Chick, are getting what they want. People want to support Karen and let her know that they are there. They're depriving her of the support. So they're bad-mouthing Microdots because of the support for Karen Reed. Is that how I'm interpreting this comment?
They're bad-mouthing anybody who's effective. And Microdots is so effective, they're gonna they automatically target him because his stuff is so good. And it's true. Everything he puts out there is true.
I know in general he's taking stuff from the trial, but it's also being supported by those who believe that the cops were corrupt, right? So there may be, and I haven't vetted these productions because I take them for what they're worth. I know they're not evidence, right? They're persuasive materials. So I don't know to what degree there is an exaggeration or a spinning it in the most positive way. I don't know. But when I look at it, I'm not offended like, oh, they're making stuff up as they go, right? It looks like it's based on reality and the evidence as we know it, and arguments that can be made based on so many holes in the evidence, right?
Have you ever seen a murder trial this wrong? Ever?
No, I haven't. I can honestly say I have not seen a case. I'll put it this way. I've never seen one come to trial. I've seen some bad cases, but they don't usually get to trial, right?
And now that it has, and the evidence where you have no chain of custody, inverted video that just gets dropped on them that morning. Oh, by the way, look what we found here. It's backwards, but it's good. Yeah.
And I'm still finding taillight pieces. I'm collecting them as I find them. I'm still finding them.
The chief of police, Berkowitz. Have you seen him? Have you seen what he looks like? Next time you see Chief Berkowitz, look at his glasses. They're like my grandmother's. They're like thick, massive, like next level, thick stuff, right? Like
Berkowitz passed away.
He already passed away. He's wearing like protective armor on his glasses because they're like 30 inches thick, right? He can't find a piece of taillight if it freaking fell in front and stuck in his leg.
Right.
Al Dante, thank you very much. $10 in the Canadian world. I'm all for freedoms, yet where's the line? Can't have it both ways. Protesting, blocking streets, supporting another country.
Driving by in a moving car. Who does that?
Yet it's protesting destructive causes chaos. Karen Reed is peaceful. True. And I think when you cross that line, there is the right to prevent it from happening. but I've just seen nothing that suggests it does happen or that it's likely to happen.
Have you seen any sort of like people getting angry at all? We just kind of, it is what it is.
No, in fact, if anything, for a murder case, it's way too fun. You know what I mean? Which I appreciate because I find humor in weird ways, and I think you need it as a release. But people are there; they are so united in their belief, in their cause, in their passion, that their release is to kind of have fun with one another and over the events that are taking place. They're not angry, evil people. I've not seen one Molotov cocktail. I mean, it's just not that kind of protest.
And Karen is always smiling because we're there and we're supporting her. And it's because of us that we're making her smile. Otherwise, I mean, maybe she'd be sitting there on the stand crying the whole time.
Yeah. And, Kristen,
up and let her know that we have her and we love her and we support her and
you'll always see criticism that she's too happy. What's she so happy about? I mean, you're going to make people upset no matter what you say, but that's a fact. I've never seen her looking down. She's always very positive. But what a team she has,
because she has thousands of people fighting for her. Thousands. I mean, we have people in different countries supporting her. I mean, it's ridiculous in a good way how much support she has.
And this whole process,
smiling.
This whole process is really embarrassing too for those who aren't in this country because it's a horrible reflection on justice in the United States.
When I see her smile, I take it as a thank you. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for being here for me. That's how I take it. I don't take it as she's a heartless witch. I take it as thank you. That's
Sassy Vice 420. Tom, someone was in the buffer zone today and passed Karen a white envelope. Anything?
I know she gets a lot of stuff that people doesn't get reported on. I know she's gotten a lot of thank you cards that people don't know about, and she's gotten flowers and stuff like that. I mean, I got nothing on this one.
Okay. Here's our friend Microdots. Succinctly put, buffer zone, childish, and stupid. It is felony stupidity, I believe. I checked it in the code. It's felony stupidity.
Yep.
Let's see. I'm not sure what this means, but Kristen, can you add on the bus incident? Oh, I guess in terms of the lawsuit. Yeah, you might have your own action, but it sounds like there may be a little bit of proper law enforcement, at least an argument that it was, because, they're supposed to be controlling traffic. Yeah, if you boil down what actually happened, wrong, totally wrong. Whether you could support that as a cause of action, I don't know if it gets there. Would you please, Kristen, get arrested next time? Because then we got something
in front of the kids, mind you.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Okay.
I'm one for the team. I have no problem doing that.
Oh, this is good. I forgot to mention this off the top. Brit Chick, Michael, did you see Karen? We'll get a look at by SCOTUS. However, that's not exactly what's happening. However, the stay was denied by Judge Jackson. So as everybody knows, there's been this appellate process where the defense has been attacking counts 1 and 3, having suggested the jury through anonymous declarations for the most part. They came to a unanimous decision on those counts. Therefore, to retry her on those counts is double jeopardy. That's the basis for these appellate arguments. They've lost at every level, and they've now taken it up to the Supreme Court of the United States in what's called a certiorari move. It's basically a request. Unfortunately, as we've talked about before, they get about 5,000 to 7,000 requests every year at the Supreme Court, and they usually take 100 or less. So it's a needle in the haystack opportunity. They also did ask for a stay until the court ruled, so that the trial would be prevented. That was decided today. There will be no stay. Again, not in my mind, not a chance in hell it was ever going to happen. I also think there's not much of a chance in hell that they'll take the case. But I believe they've identified a date, April 25th, by which the court will look at it and come down with a decision as to yes or no. The Supreme Court, to be honest, doesn't mess around with these kinds of decisions because there's a lot of case law that suggests what's happening now is proper because of the delay in time and because Judge C screwed up by not asking this jury, did you come to a unanimous decision on any of the counts? Did you? She didn't ask that simple question. And because of that, and every day that they were outside of that courthouse made it less likely that anybody was going to overturn the or grant any sort of verdict on 1 and 3 and find double jeopardy as it attached going forward. Just not happening. But that's their fault. That's the court's fault. So I'd be shocked if the Supreme Court does anything but say what everybody else has said. You got a second trial coming up. You know, Supreme Court doesn't have to say that. They'll just say, no thanks. They don't have to explain themselves.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. That sounds about right too. It's a shame, but hey, they're looking to look at it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they've got folks that all they do is look at cases. Think about it, 5,000 to 7,000 a year.
I'm sure there's multiple layers that you have to go through for it to make it to them. This probably made the first step.
Yep, that's true. There's Nan. Thanks, Tom. Nan, what about me? You shouldn't thank me.
There's love everywhere.
Okay, I think I've gotten all of them. Missy, if I've missed one, would you throw it up? Those that have asked specific questions. I appreciate that.
Hitting the like button up there.
Yes.
And
Subscribe.
Yes, do that. Do all of those things.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you guys coming on. You know, it's great to get the insights, as I've tried to do for the last number of months, from those who are in the war zone there, because you know, it's scary. And for somebody like me who's just barely putting a toe in the water and to feel it as I've felt it, you know, I can't imagine how difficult it is for you guys, because it bleeds into everything that this law enforcement community is doing.
Right.
You know, I mean, would you like to get pulled over by one of these cops for any reason? You already did, Kristen. But I mean, if you're in your personal car, you've got family members, I don't know if I'd want to, you know, stop.
I wouldn't care. I'm not afraid of them. I'm really not.
Good for you. That's a good attitude. But it's not one you want. You don't want to live with that.
Because I mean, I have my connections too. So bring it on.
Oh, here we go.
I don't tell people this much, but I get pulled over on the way home, and they give me warnings.
So, okay, what are you getting pulled over for?
No seatbelt.
No. Well, first of all, that's dumb, Tom. Where are your damn seatbelt?
Well, it was a lap belt. It didn't have the shoulder.
Oh,
it's 1980 Z. It's an old car. It didn't have a shoulder belt.
Wait a minute. What
No
is that
airbags.
car?
I have no airbags. I have a Z. A 300 Z.
But the law came into effect like in the mid '60s.
Yeah, lap belt. I have a lap belt. My car didn't have a shoulder one.
Okay. All right. Ralph Nader is a good friend of mine, so you know, he was very
Those were
lap belts, and
he
also
took the car away. The what car he did? Who made it? The Corvair.
The Corvair, yeah.
Corvair, he took that off the road.
In fact, I have that book here he autographed when I saw him in Washington. Unsafe at Any Speed, it's called.
That's the book.
Yeah, that.
Very few people know what we're talking about, right? We're in
this is the book about the Corvair was a crazy little putt car in the early '60s, right?
A little race car, like little.
Yeah, it was.
A lot of people could get into racing with that car.
Yeah, but the car that consumers bought was like a putt-putt. I mean, it really was not. It was really
like a
just
Maverick.
Above a cart from Disneyland. You know, just but they made a little spicier looking one called the Corvair. Anyway, he did a whole book on how unsafe that car was, and it's documented like Ralph Nader would document it. Anyway, so I don't know how'd that come up. Oh, seatbelts. Where your seat? So what happens? You pull over. They say you're not wearing your seatbelt, and you go, it's right here. And they say what? I need a shoulder belt. I don't think you do. Do you? I'm not going to argue with him on the side of the highway when cars are flying by. He comes back. Here's a warning. See ya. Oh, so I'm not going to argue with him. I'm just okay. So when they say it's a warning, they're basically saying you're right, we're wrong. No, just get it fixed. Yeah, but so it's a fix-it ticket. For the most part, here I'm going to let you go with a warning. Get it fixed. Okay. But they give you a piece of paper. Yeah, it's right. The ticket. And have you got that fixed yet? Don't need to fix it. It's not a payable thing. I don't think it is either. I think you're safe. But they're not, and it's always the state police. You know, the local police.
You can't. Your town police don't go thinking that they're corrupt, because they're most of the time the good ones. They're the ones that come and help you out. It's the state police and these special teams. Like, they have a special team that just comes and is in charge of us. They have undercover people also. You know that, right? There's two undercovers with them that roam around. We pick them out all the time. Ha, there you are.
The Goodmans, thanks for the gifting the Justice Served TV membership. Appreciate that. So, Tom, you're driving along. Do they want to just jerk you around? Because you can't even tell really if somebody's wearing a seatbelt. I mean,
I'm in traffic. Like, we're going.
So you're
slow,
just sitting
behind me.
Okay.
He wouldn't even know I didn't have a seatbelt from behind me.
That's what I'm saying. They were looking for a reason to pull you over. You're a troublemaker.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
You're a troublemaker.
I don't tell people that much.
Well,
before
we break up here, once again, Tom CPU, don't forget that. Check him out. Kristen helping with the mod. And as we have some amazing mods, the work you do is unbelievable. It is. I would let me liken it to for attorneys, paralegals work kind of in the background, but they're doing the heavy lifting. And I think you guys, the mods, do the same thing for us dumb enough to sit in front of the microphone. And
I love my mods. They're the best.
Yep.
They really are.
Likewise. Well, guys, thanks a lot. And I'm going to see you next week. Maybe I'll see you in a combined joint cells. I don't know.
Maybe.
Who knows? Okay, guys. Kristen Anderson and Tom CPU. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
I don't know how to get rid of Tom. You have to stay because I can't see you. Oh, there you are. Bye, Tom. When we get two rows of stuff, I get very confused. I'm not bright enough. Anyway, thanks everybody for joining. Appreciate it. A great slice of inside Canton life for better or worse. Tomorrow, I will be. Where will I be? I was going to be in Canton. Not going to be. Oh, we're doing a Where the World is Justice. We thought since we had a couple of days with this downtime before Canton truly ramps up, Dedham next week. Where in the world is justice? Going to be somewhere tomorrow. And we're going to do this as we did the last time, where I will be there. Linda Kenney Baden will be back. 6 o'clock, we'll be on live. I'll be somewhere. And we'll just talk about what it might be. And the first person who rings their buzzer and is correct gets one of these. This is not the bug mug you can buy on the merch store. This one is very special. See that on the back there? Where in the world is justice? Can't get one except by figuring out where in the world is justice. If you want to go to the merch store, you can get some cool mugs there. Won't be this one. So we'll be, hold on a second, I need to sip of vodka here. So we'll be doing that tomorrow. Linda will be back, and then we'll move on from there. So once again, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. I have not put the new music on the close yet, so I got something different for you, but we'll get this fixed. Thanks again. Good to see you. I'm Michel Bryant. Try to do the right thing.